Hello, I'm Richard. This is...
I'm Gary.
We are going to talk about the movie Phantasm that I believe came out in 79 or... I think it's even 79 or 80. And Gary's never seen it.
Nope.
So this will be his first time seeing the movie.
Just clips.
And you've seen clips, okay. I have seen the movie. I actually saw the movie when it was originally released in theaters. And I remember really liking it. But I did actually see it, I think, several times after that. And I had once owned it on DVD. So I think the last time I saw Phantasm was maybe 99, 2000. So it's been a while. And I do remember really liking the movie. I remember it having a really great atmosphere, and it was funny, but then it was also dark. This is something that we do for Halloween. Is during Halloween we try to watch a lot of horror movies. So this is what we do. We basically call it Halloween Horror Movie Night. So this will kick off Halloween Horror Movie Night with Phantasm. Okay, we are back. We just finished watching Phantasm. So, Gary, what did you think of Phantasm at your first time watching it?
It was a little slow. I was kind of struck by how for a movie it's less than an hour and a half, it seemed to feel like it was taking forever to get through. I was like, okay.
Well, it's definitely a movie of its time. I'll give it that. Mm-hmm. Because the way the movies were back in the day, they tend to progress slowly and have a lot of build-up. And I think that was the thing about this movie, is it had a lot of build-up to the climax of the movie. And I really didn't have any problem with that.
Well, I like that they didn't waste time. I mean, you started off with sex right off the bat. You started off with the supernatural right off the bat. You weren't wasting. They got to it.
Yeah. But yeah, it's kind of dated.
Especially that hair.
The clothing, the hair, it's just amazingly dated. Even the locale, like the houses, I mean, it just screams 70s. But I thought the acting was okay. I thought the main character, Michael, the boy character, I thought he was really good.
I thought it was interesting how they kept deferring to the boy. It's like, the women, it's like, take me home now, don't ask any questions. And then it's, stop the car now. I was like, stay in the car. I'm like, he's a kid. But
well, he had a sense of urgency about him, so I think I think there was a purpose to that, But I think the actor who played Michael, I thought he was the one that really carried the movie. Mm-hmm. Well, then there's the Angus Grimm as a tall man, which is as an iconic character, which is an amazing character, an amazing presence in the movie. The acting with Jody, the brother, was kind of
bland.
Reggie was okay.
The thing I liked, back to the acting for Michael, unlike other movies that involve children, that obviously the children seem to know something, you kind of get pissed when you're watching it, because you're like, okay, nobody believes them. But obviously they did not waste any time with that for this movie.
Yeah. Because they had evidence. They had that finger.
It was, okay, I've seen it. I believe you. We're moving
Yeah,
on.
yeah, it was pretty cool. I like that they did that. They just moved it. They kept the movie going, kept the story going. Um, the it's interesting because the women in the movie just they really didn't have they they were really weak.
Ornaments.
They were ornaments. They were weak. Their acting was like very, very. It's quite awful.
So was the woman that we kept seeing her boobs? Is that supposed to actually be the tall man, or are we supposed to be just imagining that we're seeing her?
I don't know. He just keeps trying. It goes from the girl to the tall man, but then there's a scene with the girl
In the bar.
No, she was in the woods while Michael was running from the tall man. And she just stood there with a knife, and then he walked away, and then suddenly the tall man comes and like, well, is he the girl or what? That was kind of weird.
Yeah.
And it was kind of weird that he's a tall man and he's pretending to be the girl and having sex with men, but then kills them and then becomes a tall man again. It's kind of weird.
If that's true. I don't know if maybe there was something that we're missing, because it did. I did feel like a lot of scenes cut abruptly, that they felt disjointed. And the music felt that way too at times.
Yeah.
A lot of disjointedness. I like the story. I like the idea, because I like that you don't know whether this is supernatural or if it's alien.
Yeah.
Or dimensional.
Yeah, they really left it open.
I'm actually okay with that, and something to be built on.
It has a really great ending. I'll give it that. I don't, if spoiler, but when Michael closes the door at the end, and then the tall man is in the mirror, and then Michael gets pulled through the mirror. That's pretty cool. I like that ending. It was a pretty shocking ending. Especially when you go through the whole movie and he's the hero and so forth, and then he gets pulled through the glass. You're like, what? So yeah, that was a pretty cool ending. It's up there with great horror movie endings.
Yeah.
The music, it has a great theme song, but throughout the music was kind of annoying and grating, and just like sounds. They were just throwing sounds during chase scenes, or like trying to be moody, but some of the music was not.
Especially that first time when the tall man grabs Jody by the shoulder and says the funeral has begun. That awful fugue sound that was happening with the organ. It was like,
yeah. It neither made it moody or suspenseful or anything. It was just annoying and grating, and there was a lot of that in this movie.
Painful.
But they had that really cool theme song that played throughout the movie that worked, and it also played at the end of the credits, and that's a classic sound.
I'd be interested to know how much, like, it was interesting how they did the whole box where Michael had to put his hand in. That whole thing, especially being done by a witch woman, if you think about it, is taken straight from Dune. The Gom Jabbar from the Ben Gesserit witches, that fear is the mind killer, which is actually what the mantra that they teach in the story, and that he has to leave his hand in there while something is burning, destroying his hand, and he can feel all the sensation. And that to prove he's not an animal, that he's human, you need to leave your hand in there to not be afraid of it. Whereas an animal,
you're just wondering if
they basically
borrowed it from that.
Because it's almost identical to that scenario.
Yeah.
Even down to the mind killer comment.
Yeah. I didn't have any problems with the pacing. I actually liked the pacing, and maybe because I had seen it, and it's I had seen it in my childhood, and it's basically, maybe I'm seeing it through nostalgic glasses, and it just brings me back to the day when I actually saw the movie in the theater. So it just brings me back to that time. So I'm okay with it. I didn't have any problem with the pacing.
So I don't have a problem with the pacing. It's weird. I thought the pacing was fine. I just thought it felt weird that it seemed that the movie was going on. I don't know how to describe it, because I didn't have a problem with the pacing. I thought they actually kept things going. I thought they kept the story moving. It just felt like the movie was going on longer than an hour and a half.
But did you think did you think it already had an ending, and then like when the house disappeared, like that might have been the ending, and then it just kept going, and that's what it felt like?
I guess no. It just at a certain point through the movie, and it was a little before the house disappeared, that I just kept going, God, this just seems like it's been longer than an hour and a half. It's weird. The story pacing was fine. I didn't have a problem with it. I thought it was actually better than a lot of other movies. I got to a point where I started to think, has it already been an hour and a half yet?
Oh. No.
And it's not a complaint. It was just a feeling I got. Oh, I thought it was creepy about Reggie. I thought it was creepy that he put his hand on Michael's thigh, and then at the end you have that whole scene where he's like, "You're gonna come away with me." It's like you're not even related to this kid, and I just thought, huh? I thought it was really weird that here's this kid, and he's basically, he's driving a sports car at 13. Some of the stuff seemed really, and I don't know, that may have been, common back in 1978.
And he drank beer.
Yeah, he just grabbed the beer and drank it.
Yeah.
Not to say that as a kid I didn't have access to alcohol, but it just seemed kind of odd. I was curious because I was looking at the dwarves, and all I could think of was Jawas.
Yeah, with what they were wearing, the cloaks that they were wearing.
And so when we saw that they're the miniaturized shrunken dead, I was like, is that what the Jawas are? They're just the reanimated dwarf dead? Oh, I thought it was weird how when they were in the antique store, they had to do all the jump scares with the faces. That the ugly faces on things like the dragons and stuff, that was enough to be a scary moment. I was like, we're going to get you.
Well, it was back in 1979. Which, by the way, that's the year he was born, in 1979.
So this movie is technically older than me, since obviously they were making it.
Yeah. And I saw it, you said I was 11?
You were 11.
I'm 11 years old watching an R-rated movie. Well, back in the days, the 70s. And I watched it. It was a double feature with The Fog, so it was great. I went with my mom and my sister, and I just remember it was a blast watching this movie, and I still like it. I still really enjoy the movie. It can be funny at times. It can be well, I don't know if it's scary now. I don't even think it was scary back when I watched it, but it's got a good pace. It's got a really good villain in it, in the Tall Man. It has a great mystery that it builds up as to where this other dimension is, what the Tall Man is. I think it really builds an interesting story, an interesting mystery that it has potential to explore, and it's pretty fascinating. I really enjoyed the movie.
I like the tuning fork. I like how Reggie knew what to do with it. It was a fun movie. It was fine. I'll reserve judgment until I see the sequels and I see whether they actually build on what the Tall Man is.
Yeah.
Those are the types of movies I like, where they actually build on a mythology.
Yeah.
And so as long as they build on the mythology, then we're going to be good. If they kind of let it fall, then I'm going to be disappointed.
Okay. So I like the movie. You like the
movie?
Okay, like the movie. So great, that was a win. So that's it for now. I'm Richard.
I'm Gary.
And until next time, we'll see you.